I'm back for some drawing. I want to do a little spiky eye today. See, I've already started a few, so I'm going to keep them up on the screen whilst I'm doing a new one. I thought it would be cool to draw along with me, have you on this journey. I'm gonna get all relaxed today. It's a relaxing Saturday afternoon. I couldn't fill the space, so I thought I'd get a little video together for you instead. I already started this about 4 times, just noises and forgetting to press record and such. So I've already found some reference. So I suggest you do the same because it always helps. It's just the standard A4 350 DPI. Why I picked that, I don't know. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little one underneath these and you can draw along with me. Okay, here we go. So, always equal hook, just gonna rough out these ideas. So let's get some shapes together. If I do a rough eye first, might be easier to then add the spiky, shardy, crystallized stuff around it. So when I'm drawing, I'm always looking at points. So you can see the reference, there's like a point there and a point there, like where 2 right angles meet. Okay, and then the eye kind of starts a little bit further than that point, goes over there like that, and then under and over. So I'm looking at different areas where there's like points, and then looking at the space in between them points to the next point. And this is how it works in my mind. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do. It's not the best way to draw stuff, but everyone's different and how their mind works and how ideas occupy them brain endings. So that's how it works for me. Let me just move this over a bit. Okay, so yeah, I'm just roughing it out. Big eagle hawk. Smoothing out and shading in areas until I've blocked out a perfect shape. And then once I've done that, I can start kind of working out where I'm going to put these shards. While I'm on this video, I might add that it is currently Tattoo Tea Party this weekend and I'm fucking gutted I'm not there, I will not lie. I just see a load of my friends there, wish I'd gone. It just makes me excited about the other conventions this year. And the fact it's getting a bit warmer now, which is nice. I put in a video I did, it won't be the last one because I've got another one coming, but the one before that, when I got a bit emosh with you guys, I was speaking about how I want to do some other stuff. So I'm going to do some other stuff. I was just talking to my girlfriend about actually. I'm interested in aliens and ancient mythology and folklore and their ties between them. And I thought it might be cool to go visit this place that's not too far for me to drive to called Rendlesham Forest. They actually have a UFO trail there now. I thought I could go there and just talk about some shit. Because all this stuff's inspiration. It inspires me when I'm drawing. It helps me come up with ideas. Like, that's why a lot of my stuff is like old towers and castles. Because in my head, it's like, imagine these places were real. Imagine you looked up in the sky and there was a floating tower or like a floating torch. I think the torch idea came from the God of War game. I can't remember what they're called, but you have to set them alight and they're part of one of the side quests. But I just thought they looked cool as shit, like signals to other people, like in you see in like old war films, like medieval war films, where they're on top of mountains and they set fires to alert other people about that there's a danger coming. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think this is good. I've been there before. I've taken my kids to this Rendlesham Forest, and I think I'm gonna go, and I'll take you guys with me. So you can see it, because it's an interesting story. right next to a military base that I'm not sure if it's still a military base or not, I don't know, but yeah, there we go. So anyway, there's my rough block out of an idea, and now we shall not need to dim this much because it was only really rough. So let's go up. I'm just going to lock all my other layers from the old drawings, and I'll lock that sketch, and yeah, so now we're on a new one. So now all I'm going to do is bring the size down of the Eagle Hawk and kind of pick at it a bit more, just to, you know, pick at it a bit more, basically. So I'm going to start with the eye. That's too big still, go smaller. Start with the eye. Now I can start working in shadows, curves, because everything's quite sharp when I sketch it at first. So I look at this line, like imagine seeing that reference as like a straight line down there, and this bit, and this bit, and that's set back a bit more than that. So it's just visualizing these things whilst you're drawing them. It's not going to look exactly the same once I've finished drawing this, but if I get the proportions just right, it will look realistic. It's the fine details, I feel, that make things look realistic. So if I traced it, it'd look exactly the same, but because I'm not tracing it and I'm just copying it, using it as reference, it won't look like the same eye, but it will still have similar proportions. And in that way, I know that it should still have a realistic feel to it. I'm going to stylize it, obviously, because I'm not a realism artist. I might make stickers out of these. I might not just be tattoo designs, but we'll see. See what happens. Yeah, so we've got the conventions coming up, like I was saying, man. I can't wait to start making merchandise. I've got them new t-shirts coming that I'm going to tag on all my recent videos because they're new, and I can't wait to sell them on. And I've got some stickers. I'm making stickers out of the frogs with their little stories. I'm just like making stuff, yeah, creating things. So let's work on these crystals. I want them to tuck behind each other. I'm going for more of a longer than wider, just because most parts of the body that you end up tattooing is longer more than wider. And that is the main goal of these, is to become tattoos. But even if they're stickers, that's still cool. It still works. And yeah, you can add some more of these little rocks to break up the shape as well, like floating around it. Having it coming out from behind the eye as well as on top of the eye to give it some depth. Like that. Let's just bring to this brow. So I want you to be able to see a distinguished line between, let's use this. So I want this gap to be away from the crystal. So there's a gap between like the details. I don't want the brow to go too far behind, like I've done it up here. So I'm trying to be conscious of that and leave that gap. Where's my black? It's all about looking whilst you're sketching, just bearing in mind where parts are. Be aware of your surroundings within the drawing. Alright, so shadow there, and underneath, and then I will add some shadow in that might not be in the sketch that I like to add to my pieces, all depending on where the light would naturally be coming from. But for the most part, this eye is fine. So let's Now, put the opacity down on that, lock that layer, new layer, get my peppermint out. And recently I've been bringing the opacity down a bit, so I've got more room to build up on the darker shades. And also, to try and speed things up a little bit, I'm trying to sketch a bit faster, so being a bit more free with my pen instead of trying too hard to make it smooth. Being a bit more clever with it. Alright, so. So a lot of this stuff is just straight lines, so you can just go at it like this. And then I find these quite easy to draw now, but just take your time, pause the video, go make a fucking tea, chill the fuck out, and take your time with it. I kind of know what works for me, and a lot of the time I will shade a lot of this whilst I'm actually tattooing. Once I've drawn this today, I'm going to put it together on the TV, and then I'm going to play a little Helldivers. I'm not really a gamer, but that game is just fucking satisfying my teenage urge to rip apart a load of bugs with a massive machine gun. You'll let me know what conventions you're doing this year, and if you're coming to, what's the next one I'm doing? I'm not actually sure if I'm doing Big North, but I think I'm doing Big North. If not, I've been at London. London's a definite. Yeah, unfortunately this year's a bit of a skint one, so even getting the money together just to like commit to a convention and pay a deposit has been hard work. So I've had to be quite selective what conventions I want to do this time around. So yeah, I quite like the shadowing on this one. It's pretty cool. Anyway, remember to keep your highlights highlightable at the end when you maybe want to add a bit of white or something. But then we're on a digital screen, so we can just make another layer and draw over the top. You're gonna have to help me for some other places I could visit if I start doing these little trips. I mean, I'm not really good at telling. I'm all right at telling stories, making them up on the spot, but telling stories about incidents and stuff, I'm not the best. So when I do go to these places, I'll probably still be talking about tattoos, my influences, and why they're cool places to visit. I mean, a lot of the time it is about the feeling. It's about the feeling you get when you see these places. Like, I like the idea that I'm there and that happened. You know, that's why I like going to these old castle ruins. This is just inspiring. It makes me feel like I was what it was like to be there and experience stuff that, you know, might have been quite haunting, but was actually quite normal when you think about it now. I feel like I might have drawn the eye a bit too big for my liking, so usually if that happens, I just add a thicker line underneath the line I've already drawn, because then you kind of get the eyebrow feel. And I'll add a couple of lashes. They can be a bit sporadic, but they help. And think about your shape of your shading as well. Like, shading doesn't have to happen up above and below the line, but it should definitely happen on one side. It's about where the light's coming from. For instance, on this, it probably would happen slightly on this part, but mostly on this part, because this part's a bigger eye flap. Okay, so I'm going to use a liquefier and just move. Oh, that's too big. Get it right down. Move this down just a little bit. I feel like I made it too big. And then I'll just sketch over it, smooth it out a bit. I feel like I might have made this too thick. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to rub it out and do it again. Okay. Alright, so for the brow, I just the reference picture's a bit just more of a mush sketching. So it's probably done with like a 6B or a bit of charcoal or something. But I want to define the brow a bit more because I am a fucking brow technician. I like the flow of the hair and how it brings it around the face and frames the eye well. So I'll try and add a lot. And then a couple of like stray hairs, you know, just some bits coming out. All the way down and then close to the bottom, but then kind of like fade them off a bit when I get near the bottom of the eye. And then when they get nearer the bottom, start just curving them over so they look like they're going, and then they get more of a shape as they come around the curve. And then you can just shade over the top of them as well. I think it's definitely nice to have some bit of reference because it gives it more feel. Like there's no point just drawing an eye straight on. As much as that looks cool, it looks very symbolic and it doesn't have a bit more emotion to it. Like these at the top, like this one looks angry, this one looks kind of seductive, and this one looks, I don't know what this one looks like. This one looks tired, a bit threatened maybe. I've got a new machine this week. I had a moment of, I hope it wasn't a mistake, but what's it called? What's the word? Can't remember the word. But I just felt like, fuck, I need a change. So I just went and sold my Bishop liner and got the packer instead. I tried Benny's packer for all of 2 minutes and I was like, yeah, I love it, I'm gonna try it instead. I think a part of me missed being able to use one machine for everything. The liner was definitely better, 4 lines, but in my mind, when that's been the case before, I've just slowed my hand down, and then done the lines that way. And that's only when I'm doing big lines anyway, like this. I've been using it on smaller tattoos, even up to a 14 round shader, and it's been just fine. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll make a little update video on the Bishop. Right, let's go back to the crystals for a minute now so I can frame it a bit more. Some broken shards. Maybe you can use the snap tool for this quite easily. Remember, drag a line, hold there. Oh, a little thing I showed Alice and Benny at work yesterday they didn't seem to know much about was you can change the function of your button here. I might have mentioned it before, I don't know if you can actually move it as well if you pull it up and down. But if you go to Canvas, go to settings, preferences, gesture control, gesture control, and then go to assisted drawing, and I've got mine set to shortcut with that tap. And that means if I really want to, I can turn on, and I've got assisted drawing, I can just turn it on and off. It helps when you're drawing like flash sheets. Just a little thing there that might help. Been really interested in, so back to the alien topic, when there was the congressional hearing just before that, and that first interview with David Grush on News Nation by Ross Coulthard, I can't remember his name, Coulthard, who is an absolute legend now, because he's just, it's nice to see some serious people getting involved in this shit. He mentioned in one interview that there was that he'd heard evidence of, and he knows the place of, a crashed UFO so big they couldn't move it, so they built a building over the top. And I've been going on dives on Reddit of people talking about where this possibly is. I saw someone mentioning it could be at Pine Gap in Australia, which is like a, I don't know, like a spy facility that the US built in collaboration with the Australian government, and it is right smack bang in the middle of Australia. And I mean, if you know Australia at all, you know that that is some wilderness shit right there. That seems like a very odd place for the States to build a spying facility. It's nowhere near, I mean, close, I guess, to some adversaries, but it's mad. It's right in the middle of nowhere. Guess if it's that secret, it's got to be kept out of the way. But I mean, if you keep places secret nowadays, people are going to know about them even more so, because, you know, you've made it secret and obvious. You've made it secret. You've made it too obvious that it's a secret. More secret places, like I read about this place, I can't remember the name of it, it's in New York. And it was one of the first buildings, I don't know if it was one of the first, but it was a building that was built in the architectural style of brutalism, which is fucking cool. Search it up, brutalism architecture. So on Pinterest or Google or something, and see some of the buildings that are made in that style. You don't really get much nowadays, I don't think. It's crazy. So this place is called 33 Thomas Street. And I mean, I read a lot about it, but like I said, I'm really crap at remembering all the details. But I know it was owned by a company called AT&T, which I think is a telephone company, or old one, I'm not sure if it's going anymore, in the States. But they had big ties to the CIA and such other government groups, and they used it to as surveillance on the American public. This is back in the day, I don't know about now, but this is, and the reason they built this place because it's literally indestructible, and they had phone lines upon phone lines upon phone lines in this place. The first like 10 floors is just computers, and that's why there's no windows either, because there is no need for them, because it's all computers. Whereas nowadays everything's when I say computers, I think it was more like actual phone lines, but they've also got massive generators at the bottom, so you can tell that there's something there. But this place, if it wasn't made in such a style, the brutalist style architecture, and it was just a normal building with normal windows, you wouldn't know any different about it. You would not know any different about it. So that's a better use of secret facility, I think. When you build stuff to make it secret, like at this point, Area 51 could just be some hollowed out buildings just to distract people from the real shit, which I think would be would make sense. Surely once, maybe it was at one point very secret facility, but then as soon as everyone cottoned on that it's a fucking secret facility, then what's the point in having it there anymore? The amount of places these people can move stuff to, I'm pretty sure they've probably opened some very, very, very secretive areas, and they're probably underground anyway. We can't see them. places like Denver Airport, which is another crazy one. If you've ever looked at that, that's mad. There's like Freemason symbology everywhere. And there's a big, when it was built, the amount of money that was invested in it was far too much for it just to be an overground airport. And there was a lot of plans that came out that had like a lot of underground areas. And man, these airports, they have underground areas anyway. Doesn't mean they're secret hangars for fucking UFOs, but it's interesting, you know? It is interesting. And you should be interested in this stuff, because this is the stuff that your tax money pays for. And I think it's easier for countries like UK, where I am now, to hide stuff, because countries like the States are so, people get so involved in the secrets they hide that everyone seems to just like, oh, like the government in the UK, like, oh, they're busying their minds over there, don't worry about it, like they won't find anything. There's stuff here for sure. There's one place I know for sure that I can't remember the name of, but it's like the UK Area 51. It's like, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Fuck it, find out, that's for another time. Right, so I'm getting there, just kind of like finalising shapes and shadows. I'm going to give the eye a once over with the bamboo bonobo chalk, as I have been calling it wrong the whole time. Remember, the face is a curve, so if a shadow comes off of something like that, it's got to be curved. That's something I do forget a lot of the time when I'm doing shade shadows. And it's little things like that that might not be that big a deal, but the devil is in the detail. When you put stuff like that in, it instantly makes it more realistic. We'll have that one there. And then let's get a little shadow going on down here as well. Let's put a little bit darker, some ambient occlusion in the gaps. I think the last drawing video I made, I mentioned I was planning on making a game. Well, I have done more of that, actually. I've been trying, I kind of jumped into the deep end and started trying to get a figure to run around on a map in Unreal 5. Like my figure that I made, and I realised that is hard fucking work, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I've kind of tried to strip it back and go to the beginning, get back on track, learning first. Now I did start proper planning out the story, which is cool. The story of the island, and trying to work out what style I want it to be in. And I do love the look of the kind of medieval, high polished metal armour, etc. And I want it to be involved with creatures of an unknown origin. So it's kind of mixing stuff like that. And I was thinking as well, like if I'm going to have like, let's say I have an alien in it, like the one I showed you. In what way do I want to portray this alien? Do I want it to? Because whenever there's sci-fi films, you always see them and they're like extremely super intelligent, have some mad powers and can do so much more than we can. But what if they just evolved in a different route than we did? But they are just as clever. Or we are just as clever as them. But let's say, for example, they harnessed the power of light before we did and could work and travel using light, but then maybe they don't understand radio waves. Something simple like that. They haven't discovered the techniques to use this stuff yet. So I thought it would be cool to have something that's mystical but not ultra powerful. So it's not like I want to make a battle game. I want to add fighting in it. I want it to be a game, like a story, immersive story, something that you're going to want to find out reasons for things being where they are and discover the clues of who could possibly be our creators. A bit like Prometheus, the film, great film, underrated. Talking of films, actually, my favourite director, one of my favourite directors. Is he a favourite director? Well, he did a film called Mandy and I thought it was cool. What's his name? I can't say it. Cosmatos. I can't say his name. Whatever. He's making a film called, I think it's called Necrogasm? Man, my memory is so bad. I'll find out what it's called. Yeah, I actually can't. No, I'm gonna ditch that. I need to fucking remember what things are called before I start talking about them. Cool. Right, let's do the eye. Let's get that eye looking good. Okay. Is it still recording? I've got to check that again. Yeah. It's still going. Let's black it out for now because I'm going to go back with white and I'll do the shine in white. Like that. Let's make some sharper details on some stuff. Then we'll get to shading the crystals. I'm going to draw some back pieces later, I think. Maybe tomorrow I might design a back piece. I want to do some more back pieces. I want to get some bigger work in. I want to tattoo a pelican on someone. I'm inspired. Right, let's take this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to make a new layer. New layer. I'm going to bonobo chalk over it. And then because it's on a new layer, I can rub out over the eye. So I use this to add like little bits in the corners as well. Just a bit of shadowing. I'll put some over the eye. Yeah, do you know what? I don't mind that. I'll leave it over the eye. That's cool. Yeah, that's good. Right, and then I leave that in its own layer and I'll come back. I'll lock that for now. I'll come back, get that peppermint out again. And this one's got a little gap. Ooh. Okay, I'll leave that for now. Let's do some rough shadowing on the crystals because we don't need to go mad. There. Someone left me a comment on my Instagram saying that there wasn't enough saturation in my work, and not that I really care. If people have an opinion, that's absolutely fine. But it did get me thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe I need to add more saturation. Maybe areas like this is where I can put it. Keep the eye dark and keep the crystals quite light, well, like high contrast on them, have dark shadows, and then like quite light non-shaded areas, for example. I think shadows definitely add an extra dynamic, some solid black of these areas isn't a bad idea. Right, I'm going to neaten up the layer below, but I'm going to leave it in because it just adds a bit more shading. Where is it? Is it that one? No. What? Where am I? Or is it the big one at the bottom? Where the fuck is that? Oh, mystery layer in between the layers. What the fuck is going on? There we go. Let's just neaten this bit up. Get rid of some of that under sketch. Leave it in still. Oh god, now I'm lost. Lock, delete. Yeah, delete. Lock. Leave. I won't lock that. I'll keep that. I am going to add some more bonobo, so we'll lock that, unlock that, draw that, flip that, clip that. Go back with the chalk, and then I might do a bit of a down gradient. I was on the wrong layer. That's it. That's cool. Now add a little bit of white just to areas. Have to be a lot. It's more just picking out, so it just highlights some bits. Yeah, I think these videos are actually helping me improve my speed as well. Knowing I've got a timer makes me want to get them done, so it's not too much of a long thing for you guys to sit through. Pretty cool. Yeah, sick. Happy with that. Banging, there we go. Oh, let's get rid of this. Make it big on the screen. So there we go. Let me bring this over. Oh, wee. So yeah, is it there? Get out of my fucking. Sick. So yeah, if you want that tattooed, you can. I'm totally down to tattoo that. To line it, I would literally just pick out the spaces. I won't go mad on the detail. I'm not gonna, just anything where there's black lines, put the lines in. I want to make this video too long, so I'm not gonna do the lines. But send me what you make. I want to make another critique video. I want to make more critique videos, loads of critique videos of the stuff that you've drawn, and I'd love it if you could send me them over. You can send me on my Instagram, Jason James Tattoos, Jason_James_tattoos. or jasonjamestattoos@gmail.com, and send them in there. And if you enjoyed that today, please, you know, all that usual bullshit, subscribe, like the video, and if you're feeling extra generous and want to support the page so I can make more of this shit, then please get over to the Patreon and pledge your little $5, pounds, or whatever it is a month. Or there's a lower one for just £1 a month, just to help out, you know. And it'll give me the chance to maybe spare up some time to make more videos. Anyway, fucking love ya, and a good day.